Okay, hi Miss Adrian. Today we're here to interview you about culture. Um, first first question. Do you have you ever experienced anyone from your culture, who might have done something which disrespect other cultures?
Um, I mean, I can say a few examples from my experience. I wouldn't say I disrespected other cultures, but it's more like I didn't know what was appropriate and I did things that they might have considered inappropriate. Just for example, a couple of weeks ago, I think I was eating with some students from my class and I was playing with the chopsticks and then just like I don't know, drumming or something like that. And for me, it's like nothing. I don't know. I was playing with the chopsticks, and then one of the students said that, "Oh, Miss Adrian, you shouldn't do this because this is not a nice thing to do to play with the chopsticks." And when we were kids, our parents told us not to do this. And I was like, "Oh, okay, sorry." So it's more like you just don't know and you just do things and you don't know about the other culture's rules or expectations. Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of like minor examples like this. I don't know, I lived in the Middle East before, and when I was not entirely familiar with their expectations, their cultural expectations, I might have, done things that they considered inappropriate about my, I don't know, the way I dress, because there you have to cover yourself, and even a t-shirt is inappropriate. So I might have, offended some people, but again, it wasn't intentional or anything like that.
Okay. Second question. Have you ever experienced anyone from other culture that have done something which you feel like they're disrespecting your culture?
I can't really remember anything like this. I think in Hungary we're pretty open-minded and you can do pretty much whatever you want to. So, I mean, I don't know. There are some sensitive issues, historically speaking, maybe. I don't know, but most people don't even know this, that Hungary used to be 3 times as big as it is now. And some border countries like Romania, Ukraine, and Slovakia, they have our territories, and then
So hi. Today we're here to interview you like 5 questions about culture. The first one is something you do from your culture that might disrespect other people culture.
Okay. I had examples in my where I was living last before I came to Vietnam. I was living in Peru, and not something so much about well, yeah, it's language, so it is part of the culture, but it's words that, for example, meant something in Spanish that they spoke in Peru, that meant something completely different from the Spanish that I knew. So some examples were actually quite bad that you shouldn't really use that word, but for me it was completely fine. So sometimes that word slipped out, and I didn't mean to offend anybody, but it did happen a few times. So.
Okay. Okay. Second question. What are your opinions of people from other cultures? Do they have they ever disrespect your culture?
Yes, yeah, my culture has been disrespected a few times. I like people from other cultures. I like to meet people from other cultures. I'm interested to see what they think and what their culture is like. Um, Sometimes you get good people from another culture. You get bad people from another culture. It really depends on the person, not the culture.
So according to your answer you just gave us, I feel like you feel easy. You take it easy to like get along with people from other culture. Do you?
I do, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I think I do.
Um, how do you see other people culture? Um, do do you think they are like good beliefs, and or you disagree?
Are you referring to any specific culture or just
In general.
in general? Well, like I told you before, I enjoy experiencing other cultures, so I like to meet people from other cultures. So
So last one. Do you think the school, which is Renaissance, is a friendly environment, or do you think like culture affects our friendliness of the school?
I think it's a good question. School culture is a culture of its own. I think there's so many nationalities and personalities mixed in here that we have our own unique culture. I don't think we know what that culture is yet. I think you guys are doing a great job in investigating what it is, but I think that's a big mission that we all have to do is just find out who we are, what Renaissance is about, what we do well, what we not do well, etc. So I find the school friendly. In between teachers, I get along with most teachers. I think all teachers. I don't know about the students. I see they get along well, but I'm looking forward to see what you guys investigate.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hi Ricky. So today we're here to like interview you about culture. So first question: something you or somebody else in your culture might have done which disrespect your other culture.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Second question: have you ever experienced anyone from other culture disrespect your culture?
No.
Okay, good. Do you generally get along with people from other culture in our school? Like, do you find it easy?
Yes, I have met some people from the other cultures, and yet because we are still in the same species, so it's easy to talk with others.
Okay. How do you see other people's culture? Do you find and is there any good or bad?
I have to talk about my experience.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I have been in India before, and about their cultures, I have some opinions. Like they're good cultures there, and they don't eat meat, especially the beef. So, yep, this is something. It's not a good thing or bad thing. It's just yes.
Okay. So, do you think our school, Renaissance, is a friendly place? Or, like, do you think culture affects the friendliness of this environment?
Yes, of course, cultures affect about the friendliness of our schools, but yes, it's a friendly school, it's a friendly place here in a sense, and I wish that no people is that disrespect with others' culture.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hi Jae-hub. Today we're
Hello.
here to like interview you about culture to see your perspective. Okay, first question. Something somebody do from your culture that might disrespect other culture.
Korean usually think West Asian like India, people are poor.
Does that include Vietnamese too?
Maybe,
Okay.
but I respect them.
Ah.
I'm not disrespect them like unlike others. What?
Unlike other, yes. So what are your opinions of people from other culture that might disrespect your culture?
No, I haven't felt it.
So you haven't experienced?
Yes.
Okay. Third question. Do you generally
Okay.
do you generally get along? Find it easy to get along with other people from other culture?
Yes.
Wow. Can you give
Why?
us like an example?
Example.
Okay, so you're living in Vietnam, right? Do you
Yes.
find it easy to get along with the Vietnamese?
I don't know how to explain, but yes, it's easy to. Yeah, easy to make friends.
Okay. How do you see other people culture? Like, are there any goods or bad?
Even they have the bad points of their culture, I think we need to respect them because they have their own culture.
Okay, so do you think the school Renaissance
Yes.
is a friendly place? Like, do you think like culture affects the friendliness of the school?
Yes, I think.
How?
How? I don't know. Because I think school is friendly, but yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Richard.
Good afternoon.
Can I ask you some questions about
course.
our culture? Okay. As something you do from your culture that may disrespect other people.
Disrespect is always a big word. The Dutch, as you know, I'm from the Netherlands, they are often quite direct in their opinions. Now, if you then look at other cultures, like say the British, or even culture in Asia, they are less direct than we are. So sometimes people feel hurt because you are so direct. So yeah, they could feel that as being disrespectful, but it is my culture.
Question number 2. What are the opinions of people who from other cultures and something they do that you might find disrespectful?
I've been international for many years. I've always enjoyed learning from other people and from other cultures. And also, what do they actually do? Because everybody, they have their own ways of doing things. One thing I always felt that was disrespectful to me is that in a number of cultures, time is very different in their mind and in mine. So if they say we're going to meet up at 5, I'm there at 5. But say in Africa, we very often had that people only would come at 6 or 6:30. Oh no, but we told you. I said, no, you told me 5 o'clock. I see it here as well in Vietnam, where people say, oh, it starts at 4, but at 4 there's nobody.
Like they come at 6 or like
Yeah.
later.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I find it disrespectful to me because I then think I'm wasting my time here. But okay, I understand. These days I'm going a bit later as well, which I don't want because that's not me.
Thank you. Question number 3. Do you generally get along with people from other cultures? And it is easy for you to get along with people from other cultures?
It depends very much on the situation. I always like to do things straight away. Said, okay, let's go and solve this. And in a lot of other cultures, it takes a bit more time. So it takes quite some time to adapt yourself to, hey, how do other people do their things? So I do think that at the end I managed to get along with almost every culture. I cannot say that I always do understand every culture. So it's acceptance, but very often it's not really understanding where it's coming from.
Next question. How do you see other people cultures? And do you think they are good beliefs? Or do you disagree with their beliefs?
That's a very difficult question. Because, look, in any culture, people have their own beliefs. I do believe you can believe anything, you can do anything, unless you hurt somebody. So if you don't hurt anybody with your beliefs and with your culture, fine. But if you look at, say, an Islamic State at the moment, that is a very different way of thinking, where actually you hurt a lot of other people. So I can accept anything that people do, as long as it doesn't hurt anybody out themselves.
Good, last question.
Okay.
Do you think the school friendly place? Do you think culture affects the friendliness of the school?
I do think so. And we are quite an Asian school. A lot of people from Vietnam, a lot of people from Korea, and from other Asian countries. And people are generally very friendly and very understanding and very polite and very respectful. So in that case, I think we as a population, especially the student population, they create an atmosphere where people feel very welcome and very much respected. We saw that with the Council of International Schools, and when they were here, they were saying that if I compare that with working, say, in Europe, that's very different, because students are much more individuals and are looking for their own things only. So you get a lot of disciplinary problems, while here you almost have never ever have that. Sure.
So, yeah, one more question.
Okay.
How can we develop a value school identity while also respecting the identity of international students?
We are Round Square School, so we have our pillars, the ideals. Now the ideals, they actually look at culture because they look at internationalism, they look at you becoming a leader, be democratic in the society, look at your environment, create service. All of that are values that I think are very common in everybody, that everybody should have, and that is regardless of your culture. So within your own culture, you can develop those traits. So I think our way forward, which we've tried over the last 2 years, to move the round squares to the forefront, so that we know the ideals, that we are creating people that will move the society forward.
Thank you so much for this.
No
Thank
problem.
you. Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Richard.
you.